read you a little story.
Okay, great.
I will read you the Uline catalog.
Oh, excellent. I love the Uline catalog.
That's
Oh,
great.
hold on. Something's happening.
Let's start with
Yes!
gift wrapping boxes.
Oh.
Go, Pagan. Go. Go,
Dress
Pagan.
up any package with our shiny, elegant gift wrap. Oh, wait. Are we in? There we go. All right, finally.
Oh.
Go, Pagan. All right, fucking, we have sound, we have everything. It's great. Don't touch anything. All right.
I wish I could.
You're still a little loud, Pagan.
Oh, okay. That's just me being loud. That's not fair. That's not fair for Paul to call me out like that. How dare he?
Hi.
All right.
Okay, I'm ready to watch the trailer, though, if everybody else is ready to watch the trailer.
I'm ready. Yeah.
Are you guys ready? Are you sure? I don't know. I mean, at this point, are you ready? No, yes, no. Okay, ready? I'm going to press play in 3, 2, 1. Pressing play. Go.
Ooh.
Well, I understand double O's have a very short life expectancy.
Oh, I see.
You're a kite dancing in a hurricane, Mr. Morgan.
Is this really what you want? Always
Oh,
alone?
Ronnie.
Great shot. Great scene.
Oh, that was...
Eva Green dying.
First woman to play 2 in a row.
Oh, really? I didn't know this was the first one.
We used to be able to get into a room with the enemy. Now they're just floating in the ether.
This is gonna look
Once
great.
it finds its way out, it'll be the
Some
death
great
of you.
shots.
Oh my God. Target enough people.
Oh,
Only people become the weapon.
Mr. Robot. Hello.
Is this Mission Impossible?
Who is he?
wow.
3.
James, you don't know what this is.
It's hard to tell them apart.
Is it though? He doesn't look like Tom Cruise.
Ah,
License to kill. In love with Madeline Swan. I could be speaking to
Super
my own
villain.
reflection.
Checking all the boxes.
Only your skills die with your body. And life is all about leaving something behind. Isn't it?
Oh wow.
Come on, Bond. Where the hell are you?
He's so good.
The Bond villain lair.
hang on.
So
hang
good.
on. This bit.
Yes.
Okay.
Look at that bastard.
There it is.
Dude, that would be terrible.
If we don't
Like,
do
please,
this,
glass, hold up.
there will be nothing left to save.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I have to finish this. You ever flown like this?
This is a long trailer. Like, they're showing a lot in this.
Yeah.
The final trailer. Pretty,
Oh, did you
revealing.
see the... Oh, the ending, though. Oh, wow. Wow. All right. Yeah,
Ooh, okay.
Reactions? You know,
Yes.
that ending,
That
though.
was
Wow.
I mean, it looks
Goosebumps.
great. The production value is insane. It's a gorgeous movie. I'd be honored to work on it. I stopped watching James Bond a long time ago. They never bring
Really?
anything new.
What's
It's
the
just
last
the
one you
same.
saw?
Oh my God, I don't even know if I think I saw the first Craig guy, for his first one, and I never watched since. I lost interest a long time ago. It just never, like, it's like I'm waiting for somebody to do something completely different, like what's his face did with Star Trek. I want somebody to reinvent it or something. That said, it's still a good movie. If you like that kind of stuff, you're going to enjoy that. You're going to everything about it is done top notch. It's got top notch people involved. They shot this on 65 millimeter IMAX film, so it's going to be like film porn. Well, not really. It's
Film
like
porn.
it's just those highlights and those details in the blacks are going to be insane. It's going to look gorgeous. Like, if you watch this on television, it's a waste of time. Like, you got to go to the movie theater to see this and to appreciate that 65 millimeter footage. And and if you like it's the first time an American directed. It's film history. But does it turn my crank to go watch it? It looks like every other James Bond trailer.
It fell
Sorry.
short for you.
Yeah. But
Interesting.
yeah, I'm going in there with a biased opinion of boredom.
Of the franchise. Like you're just tired of Bond.
It's
Yeah.
just 25 of them, and I'm like, what did you see in that trailer that was different? What shot was different than any? That's why I said made the Mission Impossible joke. It's just like even the music beats and the way it's done was the same. Like, what did you see in that trailer that made me go, oh my god? Nothing. It's just the same stuff.
Yeah, that's
Look
true.
good,
And
though.
but I feel like they were also playing to the nostalgia of James Bond here. They put a lot in from the older films. They put in the Aston Martin with like the big machine guns in the lights. Like they're really kind of playing homage to the history of it, and I feel like the heritage of James Bond, maybe.
Yeah.
But if you've never seen those films before, that's all lost on you. And sometimes I do feel like that's such a nice nod to people who've been a fan of the series. The same with the Spider-Man trailer when we were discussing this, when they were inserting things from the older films. If you hadn't seen that, lost on you. Still cool, but lost on you. So this, I think, is a nice nod to the fans of James Bond films that will always watch a James Bond film, no matter
Yes.
what it comes out like, no matter who's the Bond, like they'll always watch it. So I feel like this is a cool. Not a fan made one. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not for the fans. I think it's just a cool nod to them. I don't know what the original phrasing was on that. I think Drew, you had good phrasing when we were talking about the Snyder Cut film. A fan something. Can't remember what you said.
I don't know if this is made for I mean, Bond has always been able to. I think what makes it such an enduring franchise is that it's always able to speak to a larger audience because the character is sort of like is locked into this world of like Cold War, right? This idea that there's evil out there, and there's like a guy like James Bond who's dapper, he's sexy, he's got a license to kill, he's charming, and he's able to go on these adventures and live a life that like a lot of us aren't able to, and still save the world. He can still have the martini shaken not stirred, still gets the girl at the end of the day. It's sort of this like it's almost old Hollywood if you think about it, this sort of type of hero that exists, and it's sort of holding on to that in a way, which is it's really fascinating, and I think it's going to continue to thrive because I think we'll always need this kind of character in the world, right? You know what I'm saying, in film, right? And I don't know if it needs to be reinvented. I think Casino Royale was probably the boldest reinvention of the character that Daniel Craig brought to it, which
I would
was
agree.
it made him a vulnerable hero, and it made him more of an ass kicker than a gun killer, right? Like he rarely uses a gun in that film. In the original movie, like Casino Royale, he's more of he punches people to death basically. He's more like Joel in Last of Us. And they kind of carry that into this movie where he's continuing to kind of carry a lot of weight, right? Like he's got this. There's a lot of drama here, right? In the last films, like with M and her death, and his love life is a big part of like all of these stories. Madeline Swan, and that's never been like the case with Bond. He's always been more separated from the women, more like conquests rather than the closeness. So this is actually a reinvention if you think about it. So I don't know.
Not a reinvention. How's it a reinvention?
think-
You just said it was all like the old stuff. Like, how is that?
The archetype of
I said
like this hero.
it was like playing. Oh,
my wife.
Hi. Hi. Come on in. Give us your thoughts on James Bond. What do you think?
Yeah, I hear you, Drew, and it's exactly why people are going to watch it and why people like it. But again, I think it speaks to the Hollywood not being able to tap the people with the new creative ideas and take a risk on stuff they look at. They sit in a meeting room and they go, listen, this is a multi-billion-dollar franchise. What's next? And they just, they have the money to pay the people, and that's why you get a quality looking product. But I just think that there's room for new stories and new directions can be made. And I don't think that Hollywood has the balls to pull it off. It takes independent filmmakers or somebody that gets the chance to step out and go carte blanche with something which is rare. And that's how you get new and interesting things made. And this is just tired tropes
I
for
think
me.
that's coming though. Like I think even Craig was feeling that himself. Like Daniel Craig, I think was feeling that himself with this. And there's like, it's too much of the same a little bit, and felt like he couldn't go anywhere with the character, but he was contracted for this film, and I think ultimately reluctantly did this. Feel free to correct me in chat or comments, but I believe that was the case, and this is going to be his last film. And then they are definitely talking about a full facial reconstruction of the Bond series, where that's a female Bond, an Asian Bond, an African Bond, whoever that is. And I'm like, yeah, I think that's great, because we have totally surpassed this, right? Like we've surpassed what Bond is supposed to have been, which was this blonde-haired, blue-eyed spy with a license to kill. My cat's gonna come into frame. Sorry. Hi, kitty.
Oh my gosh, that tail was amazing.
Right in front of your face.
I did warn you. Yeah. So I think like that is definitely coming, and I think it's gonna be a really controversial, like pivotal change in the Bond world. A lot of people are gonna like it or they're gonna hate it. But I think it's
Drew, I think you're nostalgic at heart. I think you love the older things.
I mean, there's something about
you love to go back and like it's a thing for you.
Well, and I think it's a thing. I think it's a thing for a lot of people. I mean, when you see the car with the cool gadgets and the guns that pop out and the smoke screen, there's a part of everyone, and maybe not everyone, but people who grew up watching James Bond. That's like, finally we get the cool car with the cool gadgets. I mean, there's something about watching like Sean Connery don the jetpack. You know what I'm saying? Like for the first time, or like the underwater car in Thunderball. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and you're just
gadgets.
Yeah, you know, or the watch with the laser on it that Pierce Brosnan brought in. You know, so
great, yeah.
Every Bond sort of.
Where's that in this movie?
Well, see, that's the thing.
The cool car with the guns in it, and I'm sure that there will be, because we did see Q, which is basically his Q. In it, so there's definitely going to be some cool looking gadgets, and the freaking plane that like dropped out of another plane and then just was like, swoop, like a bird. I was like, that's pretty cool.
It's pretty awesome.
I don't know how Bond that
there's
is.
There's a shot where you see that plane, what looks like that plane, go underwater and become a submersible. So there is some nods to kind of the older ideas of like, there's some cool tech. But again, this is a really grounded Bond, like this is a more real version.
It looks
like, or Roger Moore, kind of like they were in space and shooting lasers.
I know, he went to space. Moonraker, right?
Yeah,
is it Moonraker? Goes to space?
And those were a little campy, but they were still fun. You know, they were still a good time. And I think
the older ones. I watched the older ones. I like the older ones. I'm just saying, it's played. This is played. You got to. It's time to step up, do something different.
I agree.
Yeah, but how different though? Because at some essence, it's sort of like go back to Doctor Who. If you got rid of the TARDIS, is Doctor Who anymore? Right. So if you got rid of like the Walter PPK, if you got rid of Q, if you got rid of M, if you got rid of Moneypenny, is it still James Bond? You know, like how much can you reinvent this? You know, other than making the stories more about modern day ideals and modern day problems. Like, so a big thing is that Sam Raimi's playing a character that might end up becoming Dr. No. So that's like a theory that's out there, because you have Blofeld, who from Spectre. So Blofeld was the head of Spectre, which, by the way, you were channeling your inner Blofeld with the cat on your lap.
Thank you.
The cat on your lap.
Well, we're saying that though, Drew. What if they took that angle, just like Disney did with all its villains? Where Disney took the villains and tried to personify them and give them a better origin story. What if they went and did that with James Bond and make James Bond sort of a secondary character in all of this? Because we've seen him do everything. Cool. Like, what if we went into the origin stories of... Because the old Bonds had better villains in my mind. As you got older, the new villains were just kind of like, just as bad guy could be, but Dr. No and those other ones, they were different villains for their time. Give me the origin stories of those guys. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'd like to see a villain story.
Do that though, and that's what's interesting about this film. This is Daniel Craig. His 5 films are sort of have an arc, and this is supposed to wrap up that arc. So that's fascinating, because that's never been done before in like a Bond franchise, and I'm not sure it was done really well, right? It's kind of, we talk about this before, like the difference between how Marvel has done their franchise versus like Star Wars, where it's like like Marvel came in with like a plan, right? And like an arc that they wanted to tell ahead of time.
Right.
Where I feel like the Bond franchise has sort of evolved, and they sort of like piecemealing the arc together as it moves along based on the director that's involved and whatnot. So I'm not sure it's going to be successful in having like that through line that we all like, this Spectre through line with Blofeld and going all the way back to Casino Royale, and like that guy was working, and Quantum of Solace, they were all working for Blofeld and Spectre. The last film was all about Spectre. This film's about wrapping up that story and how Bond is like a centerpiece of what's happening with Spectre. So again, I'm getting really like in the weeds on it.
Yeah, you haven't convinced me. You haven't convinced
No,
me.
I know,
No.
and I don't think a lot of people are picking up on that. So if you're a big Bond head, it's kind of like, oh, cool, there's a lot to dig into here.
Yeah.
But if you're just going for a fun action movie, I'm not sure it's there, right? I think Mission Impossible has been doing a better job at making fun action spy movies than James Bond has in recent years.
That's
I
fair.
agree.
Thanks for the soup,
What about you,
PJ.
Steph?
I mean, yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, like in between like PJ and Drew a little bit. Like I
Okay.
feel like it's been done so much that I do agree. Like I think that there is something that they need to do different, because it's always like the good guy, the bad guy. The bad guy's always living in some concrete, barren
Yeah, yeah.
layer, and there is something like, I mean, we've been rewatching like a lot of the Sean Connery James Bond movies, and there is something nice about those movies. Every single, like, just down to the detail, and like even the cool little like robots, like everything now is so polished and like sexy looking, like, but like there's something about like some of the gadgets, even like it just looks kind of quirky a little bit, like it's just different, like. And so I think for me, I like where like these like Daniel Craig films have gone, like emotionally, and just like how it's changed James Bond. But I'm also kind of like, do we need more James Bonds? Like, do we need to like continue
Sure.
it,
No, that's
or
fair.
does it end? Like, it's had a good run. Do we
Kill
have
'em.
to?
I mean,
I mean,
let's
Well-
let's hold on a second, okay?
Kill 'em.
It's kind of like,
Shoot 'em. Oh,
hey,
sorry.
do we need
Sorry.
another James Bond? It's like, hey, studio, do you like making money? I mean, what do you think
Yeah, and
here?
they're gonna err on the making money every
James
single
Bond
time.
are gonna do, of course they are, because you will always go see a James Bond film, because people are diehard James Bond fans, no matter what the movie. The movie could be
Yeah.
the worst James
Imagine
Bond
though-
ever, but they've still watched
still
it
go.
5 times. Yeah, they still have.
Those books were popular in the 60s.
They were.
Yeah, incredibly
They were
popular.
very big.
Fleming's books were
and
huge.
to be fair, I mean, there's been some bad James Bond films, but they're still fun, right? They're still okay.
And they do great foreign. They do
right.
huge foreign
Yeah.
sales.
I like PJ. I like your idea of like turning it
Kill 'em.
around to like the villain.
Oh yeah, do the villain idea. Kill 'em.
I think
Just
that
kill
would
'em.
be a new way to revitalize it and give it something different. Is show this different angle, like, so like Bond's there, but he's not always like, and you're seeing it.
Sorry.
If
I was going to say,
if
I
knew
love that
nothing about
idea.
it-
I would just love to have like a really good, like a badass movie that you have no idea is a James Bond villain until like the very end, when it when you realize and you're like, oh, it's Blofeld. Like, oh my god, I'd love that kind of like twist on a random ass movie. That'd be so cool. I'm sorry, PJ. Go ahead.
Looking at that, you if you don't know anything about that movie and you see the look of it though, I would want to watch it just for the quality of how good it looked.
Oh, it looks
Yeah.
beautiful.
But I've fallen into that trap recently,
Mm-hmm.
as we all have, with that Green Knight trailer.
Okay.
I saw that Green Knight trailer and I wanted to watch that movie so bad, and I
You
watched it.
didn't. You shit on that movie the whole time.
No,
on
I
trailer
love
time.
the Green Knight trailer.
No, he shit
I'm
on
gonna go
you
back
the
and
whole
watch
time,
it.
Drew. He liked
I
the
shit on
trailer.
you. I love the trailer.
Yeah.
I saw that
Different.
trailer and I was like, I gotta watch this movie. I couldn't get through it. I could not get through that movie.
No.
It was such a bore fest.
It's a lot.
I hated it. I really hated it.
I've got to say though, with this trailer, this is a 2.5 minute trailer, and I feel like they've put an awful lot in this. And it's the same, like, it's the same James Bond kind of shit that you put in the trailer. Like stuff explodes, sexy women, badass women fight scene. And I'm like, yes, I love that. Woman pilot, like dropping out of the plane, like, so it's dope. I'm loving it, but it's just kind of like, yeah, it's a James Bond trailer, I suppose. What do you expect? I just feel like the trailer could have been shorter, leave us wanting more. But the end shot, though, is so like it's the classic. He turns and shoots in a circuit. It's so cool, and they've actually like done it in a tunnel. That's pretty cool for me. I think that's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty decent.
But to your point, Pagan, I think we have to like, and it's something we should probably discuss on another trailer talk a little
Sure.
further. But there are different trailers for different folks, right? So they have the original. Now they come out with the teaser trailer, which is usually like about a minute 20.
Yeah.
It's short. It doesn't really give you a lot of plot details. It's more about mood and showcasing you who's in it and what it looks like. And then they usually have like a second trailer that's a little bit more involved, a little bit longer. It probably has a little bit more dialogue from the characters. A little bit more polished. Usually has like a combination of like what the first trailer was and gives you a little bit more. And then there's the final trailer, which usually comes about a week to 2 weeks before. Or sorry, not a week, a month or a month and a half before the
release,
movie airs. And that is sort of like the long form final thing. This is all the footage you're ever going to get before this movie comes out, until the TV trailers come out. And the TV trailers usually have one or two more scenes added from 30-second cut downs from those trailers. So those give you a little bit more insight too, and more about like the hype that's around it. So the final trailer is supposed to be like the bombastic long form, like this is for, if you've been with us this long, you're going to get you're going to be shown a lot of information. So I hear you. So like if you're a fan of like more getting a glimpse and a tease, don't ever watch final trailer. Yeah. Don't ever watch final trailers because they are meant to kind of give you a lot.
Yeah, like Adam is a big James Bond fan. Hasn't seen anything about this movie. Is avoiding all trailers, including like the music, Billie Eilish's song for this. He's avoided all of that because he completely wants to go in with a fresh experience. And I am so the same. If there's something that I'm really looking forward to, a game, movie, TV show, I don't want to know anything about it. I don't want any preconception while I'm going into this of what it could be, because it just spoils some stuff,
I know. That's how I pick my wife.
Nice. That's fair. That's fair.
Just
go in, just be like, you'll do, and it turns out it's Marisa, and you're like, holy shit, that was a great choice. But
it's a little scary, but I lucked out. I lucked out.
You did. You lucked out.
Look at the feet first, and be like, okay.
Yeah, Drew just spoke volumes with that comment. It just spoke volumes.
Yeah.
PJ's like, as long as they're topless, I'm happy.
More of a bottomless guy, not a topless guy.
And I just want to say, like, going back to the reinvention, I think this movie might surprise people. This has already been leaked, so this is not a spoiler, but Lashana Lynch plays Naomi, who is, and in the trailer he says, hello 007 when he's speaking to her.
Yes.
So she's actually taken up the new 007 moniker.
Heck yeah.
But she's not James Bond, right?
No.
Daniel Craig is still James Bond.
No.
So I think they are sort of setting up this idea that, like, what does it mean to be James Bond and what does it mean to be a 00? Or 007, and what if they, like, to PJ's point, do they kill Bond? They might. There might be a situation here where 007 lives on, but James Bond doesn't for a while, right? Until they reinvent the franchise. So there could be something interesting there. So who knows? And with but I don't know. Like, they're setting up a lot of interesting things here, and I don't know if they're going to continue in this. This is sort of like the Daniel Craig series. To me, feels more like Christopher Nolan's like Dark Knight trilogy, right?
Yeah.
Where it's very
much so.
And if you were to reinvent it, you almost have to come back and go clean again and be like, okay, let's hire Zack Snyder to do a new thing, because that's done. It won't look like this anymore.
Sure.
So I wonder if there is a fresh reboot after this, or they're going to continue in this sort of world. And that's I guess we won't know until the movie comes out and we see it and see how they wrap things up. But
nice.
Okay, you got me for 5 more minutes, and I gotta go.
I'm good. I think I've said everything that I wanted to say on this trailer. Stephanie, do you have anything else?
I mean, the more I think about it, I feel like I would like a James Bond film to go back. Like, just, this is a personal preference. Like, because I like the 60s and I like the feel of that in the movies. Like, I just want another movie to go back to the 60s, and maybe it's like a new Bond, but like it was like one before Sean Connery. Like, just kind of like that kind of. I think that would be cool, because I just like period pieces. So I like.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that would be cool.
Did you see The Man from Nowhere? The new one, like the new film. What was it called? The Man from Nowhere? No, Man from Uncle. Is that what it's called?
No,
from
not
Uncle?
yet.
Man from Uncle was a
A Man
TV
from
show.
Uncle?
wasn't it?
Yeah,
Well,
Man from
they
Uncle
made a
became a
movie.
film with
Yeah.
with Armie Hammer and Henry Cavill.
I tried watching that too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It-
great.
I can't
Yeah, I
remember.
liked
Marissa
it.
made me turn it off for some reason. I can't
Oh.
remember
It
where
was
that was
actually
from.
much better than.
It's actually yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah. And even Kingsman kind of gives you that vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
right,
does.
Good,
of
good
like
spy
Kingsman
movies.
too.
Well, and like what they're doing for this new one is like they're going back to the beginning, like but when it was like first started, and like I love that. Like I love like just like Rasputin, like just all these like very like different things, and it's like, oh, that's cool. I never would have thought of putting them in the same room with like dealing with Rasputin or like
Yeah.
like of all things. I think that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
And you all make a good point. I mean, did someone just brought up in the chat? Imaginative username brought up Austin Powers, and I wonder, did Bond peak? Did Bond peak with Austin the parody? Right, like did
Yeah, that's fair.
and and it's kind of like did Star Wars peak with Spaceballs? You know what I'm saying? That
Right.
Probably not. You know, it's still going strong.
Star Wars
but,
peaked after Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
No, but you're right. Like every time you saw
That's
somebody,
true.
any spy movie or anything they had to have that scene where they walk through and learn the new gadgets. I mean, they even did it on
Get smart.
the Get Smart did it. But what was the cartoon? The Incredibles had that vibe. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, yeah.
when everybody's doing that, you peaked. You peaked.
So I mean, to your point, PJ, maybe there does need to be a bit of a reinvention here, so that something other people
Wait,
can steal
stop.
from.
Wait. You said I'm right?
Whoa,
Wait,
whoa,
what?
what
You might
happened?
be
Did we
right.
just? Was there
Somebody
a tech issue? What's
record
going on?
this down, please.
There was a mic
I'm recording
there,
it now.
a clarifier, right? Like, because I never want to say nothing's ever black and white. Let me put it that way. And except for the opening of Casino Royale, that's black and white.
All right,
see
got
what I
2
did
minutes to
there?
say goodbye.
Got it. Full circle, bitches.
Nice.
Full circle.
Good way to wrap it.
All right, everybody. Thank
Wait,
you
wait,
once
wait!
again.
Before we leave,
Yeah.
favorite Bond, go. Stephanie, favorite Bond.
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
Daniel
I
Craig.
like Roger Moore. I liked Roger Moore too, to be honest with you.
Oh,
Pagan, Daniel Craig.
100% best Bond.
I'm the weird one. Pierce Brosnan.
That's
thought he
fine.
was
Good
cool.
Bond.
I thought he was fucking 2 films or 3 films. Fucking
Why
amazing.
do we listen to this man?
Yeah.
He's good. Shout out to
Daylight.
Timothy
Living
Dalton as
Daylight.
well. Timothy Dalton was pretty good.
Why do we listen to this man?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Timothy Dalton was great. Yeah,
Honorable mention.
Best Bond girl.
Yeah.
But,
No one mentioned Roger Moore.
Wasn't there
Who-
somebody that did it once? Like he played one and it was
George,
so bad.
George
George
Lazenby?
Lazenby.
Yeah,
Lazenby?
yeah. Poor bastard.
Yeah, did
Well.
one film.
He did
I think
it.
I saw like 5 minutes of that film and I was like, this is not Bond. Like, no.
All right, everybody. Thank you once again. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Thanks,
Even
everybody.
with our tech difficulties, we managed to get
Yeah. Thanks for
Guys.
sticking
Wouldn't be
through them
us.
all with tech difficulties. We will see you all next week.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.